It's January, which means everyone is telling you to be a new version of yourself. Read 50 books, 100 books, 1,000 books, I don't know, write 50,000 words this month. Wake up at 5 a.m. and then do a super hardcore workout and then, hustle harder, do more, be more, because who you are isn't good enough and you need to reinvent yourself to be better. I don't like that. It's telling you that no matter what you do, you're not good enough, you're not trying hard enough. But what if the problem isn't you? And what if the problem isn't your ambition? What if the problem isn't the things you want to achieve, but rather it's that you're trying to do them in someone else's way, in a way that's not suitable for who you are and for your life? I've set big goals for myself this year. So I don't believe that big goals, big dreams, big ambitions are a problem. I want to have the first draft of my novel done by the end of March. I want to have it polished by the end of the year, ready to send out to readers. And I think that's perfectly fine because for my life, those goals are achievable. They're realistic. They are adapted to the way I work and the way I like to work best. So today I wanted to show you how to set big creative goals that actually fit your real life, your real energy levels, and just the person you are today, right now, rather than some, unrealistic social media imposed version of how you ought to live. Every January, I see goals, especially on social media, that look impressive, goals that are designed for that perfect screenshot, the kind of goals that would make other people think, wow, you're so dedicated, you're so ambitious, you're so driven. And ambition isn't the problem. I don't have a problem with ambition. I have ambition. Ambition is beautiful at the end of the day, and I don't have a problem with that. My problem is with performative ambition, with goals that are more impressive to other people and to the external world than they are sustainable for you and for your life. This performative ambition is when you set goals because that's what, real writers or real creatives do. It's when you see someone else's numbers, whether that's word count or social media followers or whatever, and you set those targets because you don't match them and you don't accept the fact that your growth is on a completely different road from theirs. So your growth will look different than theirs does. And it's goals that you set because you don't want to look lazy or look as if you're not taking your own goals seriously. That's not your ambition. That's just borrowed. It's borrowed ambition. And it's borrowed ambition that ends up burning you out. You can have big goals. You can be disciplined. There's nothing wrong with that. But being disciplined doesn't mean being cruel to yourself, especially. Big goals only work when they're built your way for your life. And just to be clear, experimenting with other people's routines isn't the same as blindly following and adopting their goals and dreams and aspirations in life. Next week, I'm actually taking on someone else's writing routine, and that's not because I believe that it's better than my own, but rather that by testing my systems, I'll find ways to refine them and make them better and figure out what works best for me. The same way that the Sanderson experiment enlightened me in so many ways. Anyway, that's what today's all about. I call this the Real You Audit, as a counter to the whole New Year, New You thing. And it's just a way that you can get honest about who you are as a creative person, not who you think you should be. So you can build goals and systems that work for you. This isn't about lowering your standards or anything like that. It's not about avoiding hard things. It's about designing goals that actually work instead of quietly breaking you. Through the audit, we're going to work through 5 key areas, and then I'm going to show you how I'm applying this to my own writing and reading goals. Because creativity doesn't exist in isolation. It lives through your systems. So grab a notebook if you want to follow along, because these questions are designed to be answered honestly, not aspirationally. And to help you, I've also designed a free printable PDF that you can download and print at home. You'll find the link for that in the caption below. Part 1 is all about our energy patterns. Being awake isn't the same as being creatively available. I know people who can wake up at 5 a.m. and just write brilliant prose before breakfast, but I'm not one of those people. Sure, I wake up between 5 and 6 a.m. every morning. That's just how my biological clock works, and I work best when I'm awake in the morning. I love having the whole day ahead of me. But I don't get to writing until a little bit later, maybe around 10 or so. Generally, I start with my growth hour, I ease into the day, I do some gentle movement, walk the dog, have some breakfast, give my body and my brain a chance to fully be present, and then time time comes and I'm like ready to tackle my draft, tackle the next thing that I'm working on. So to figure out your energy patterns, ask yourself, when does your creativity actually flow? Do you work best in sprints or in steady rhythms? What restores your energy and what drains it? If you're forcing yourself into a schedule that your brain is resisting, you're not being disciplined, you're just fighting yourself. Our second part is all about creative identity. Like, who are you actually as a creative? Not the version of you that you perform for social media or for anyone else. It's the real one. Ask, do deadlines energize or paralyze you? Do you need structure or freedom? Do you discover as you go or plan first? Are you motivated by external accountability or does it make you want to rebel? Do you need a routine or spontaneity? As in, do you want to create from the same desk or go hopping from cafe to cafe? Do you want complete silence to work or do you need noise to help you focus? In what environment does your creativity flow more freely, like right now in this stage in your life? I love deadlines. They keep me accountable. And when I'm working, I need to have a plot. You know, those little flag posts along the way that say, hey, that's where I'm aiming. I need to just figure out how to get there now. I work best with light external support and accountability. I absolutely hate the tough love approach. It gets me frustrated and angry and I just shut down, but maybe that's what works for you. If you keep trying to copy someone else's routine and how someone else creates without actually listening to your own body and what you want, you're gonna resist and resent the work and maybe even yourself in the process. So sure, experiment, try things out, figure out what works for you, and then assess what isn't working for you. Optimize, refine, keep evolving, keep growing, but don't try to fit yourself into someone else's mold. Our third part is all about life architecture. And this part can be really uncomfortable because it deals in reality, not in how we wish our life was. Ask yourself, what season of life are you in? What invisible load are you carrying and what support do you actually have? What are your real non-negotiables? I'm not talking about things that other people are saying should be your non-negotiables. Things like, drink 15 million gallons of water a day because that's the best way to clear your skin. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, if exercising is something that helps with your mental health and helps keep you feeling stable, then yeah, it might be a non-negotiable for you. But for someone else, exercising isn't a non-negotiable. Instead, things like work or doing the school run or managing chronic illnesses is your non-negotiable. Because ultimately, life isn't just hours on a calendar. It's emotional bandwidth. It's your capacity. It's all the things that you have to balance and manage. And you can't plan like someone with fewer things on your plate, fewer constraints, and then blame yourself when it doesn't work. That's unkind. That's just so unkind. Your goals have to fit your actual life, not the one you wish you had. And if you follow someone else's goals and systems blindly, you end up thinking that you are a failure, that you are the problem, when in fact the problem was that you didn't actually consider all of the parameters and you set yourself up for failure from the very beginning. I'm getting really heated about this. Anyway, the fourth part is your motivation audit. For every big goal, you should ask, why this goal? Why now? Is this excitement or obligation? And what if I don't make it? What if I don't achieve it? What if I don't hit this target? What would make it feel like a success, even if the outcome is different than what I had planned? If the answer to why this goal or why now or how it would feel if you don't get it is shame or feeling like a failure, then that's not what we want. Those are red flags. Think about it this way. My novel deadline, the March deadline for my first draft, passes my audit because I work really well under pressure. I work really well when I have tight deadlines, when I slot it in and plan for it. That's just how my brain works, call it type A or whatever. I've blocked realistic sessions for each week. So I've blocked 4 sessions for each week. And within each session, I write, between 1,500 and 3,000 words. So even the maths, it works out. Even if I miss the date, if I don't make it by the end of March, that's fine. I'll make it by the end of April. And having this target just means I'm gonna make so much progress, and I'm gonna feel really good about the fact that I am making this my priority and not letting other things come into this creative time I've allocated to it. Part 5 is a sustainability check. In this part, you should ask yourself, can I maintain this pace, or is this setting me up for burnout? What has to give in order for me to achieve these goals? Where is flexibility built into the system? What leeway do I have? A sustainable goal is one that leaves you excited to keep going, not relieved that it's over. Okay, so you've done the audit. You understand where you are right now in your life. Now what? The problem with most goal setting advice is it treats creativity as if it exists in a vacuum. You know, write more, read more, just do more. Yeah, but that's not how human beings work. You need an ecosystem, you know, just different parts of your life that are going to support and balance each other to help keep you going. For me, writing costs energy. It's generative, it's beautiful, and I love it, but it leaves me creatively drained. Reading replenishes that energy. It fills my creative well. It's the fuel. Rest stabilizes everything. It's not optional. Rest is essential. And for me, rest looks like my cozy hobbies. It looks like crafting. It looks like cooking. It looks like unwinding and really just spending time not creating in a way. Movement comes in to just clear up all the emotional tension and static. It eases my anxiety. It clears up the tension. It uplifts any frustration and uncertainty I might be feeling, and it helps me feel grounded and more steady and more able to tackle any problems that come up. For me, that looks like walking, or maybe some yoga, some gentle movement, even paddle. For you, it could be whatever else that helps you feel better. And last but never least is community. It's the thing that makes creativity possible. You know, it protects and balances you as a person and keeps your identity as a creative in perspective to the rest of your identity as a person. When one part of your ecosystem gets heavy or falls behind and the whole system looks lopsided, the rest of it is there to keep it balanced and keep it strong. Like, for example, when I'm deep in a writing experiment, my social and community side gets thrown out the window. I pretty much don't make plans with other people unless the specific author has that built into their creative routine or whatever. The rest of it is still there to keep it going. That's how creative work just becomes resilient. Next week, I'm trying another routine as an experiment. I'm taking on this routine not because I think it's better than mine in some way necessarily, but because experimenting helps me understand my own creative systems better and find ways to refine it. But I only do that after I've already established my goals and audited my why. The experiment, the play, the growth, the evolution, that naturally follows figuring out your why. That's how you learn what actually fits. After I'm done with the experiment, I take on what works for me, discard the rest. Last year, I experimented with Brandon Sanderson's writing routine, and Sanderson's routine is basically the opposite of my own. He writes at night. I'm a morning person. I found it agonizing to be awake until like 2, 3 a.m. I don't even remember if I made it up to that late most days. But that experiment also gave me a key takeaway, which is kind of ridiculous in hindsight, but the fact that blocking time for writing actually means writing gets done, you know, it's obvious, but I needed to try this experiment and have this reality check in order to realize that I need that form of accountability for my own creative process. That just saying, oh, I'm gonna write when I have time doesn't work for me. It means that the words never get written. This brings me to something really important that ties this whole ecosystem together, and that's the kind of rules that you put into place for your accountability and for your goals. I like rules and goals that give me direction without taking away my agency. You know, the ones that act like guardrails rather than prison bars that you're fighting against. And I don't like punishment. I don't like costs as motivators. My TBR jar, my 2026 TBR jar, which I keep over here, is the perfect example of this because it gives me structure, but it doesn't trap me. I have a jar full of over 70 books that I haven't read yet. And throughout the year, all I'm gonna be doing is pulling books from this jar and reading them. And here's what's important. These rules are so soft, like so absurdly soft. If I pull a book out, that I don't feel like reading, I'll just throw it back in. If I pull one out and I start reading it and I'm not enjoying it, I'm gonna DNF it. If something else comes out, or if I get gifted another book and I'm so excited to read it, I'm gonna read that instead. Like Victorious is coming out at the end of the year in the fall. It's the third in the Villain series by V. Schwab. You know, you've got Vicious, Vengeful, and then Victorious. And I'm so excited to read that. And I know I'm gonna be rereading the whole series before that comes out, but that's okay. After that, I can go back to the jar and pick up another book. The jar just gives me structure, so I'm not paralyzed by the choice of what book I'm gonna read next every time I finish a book. But the flexible rules also just give me a sense of agency. I'm the one in control. I'm the one ultimately choosing. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to do the audit. Actually answer the questions honestly, not aspirationally. Keep asking yourself, are these my goals or borrowed ones? Do they fit who I actually am? Is my ecosystem balanced? And give yourself permission to adjust. You don't need a new you. You don't need to just overhaul your whole life. What you need are goals and systems that fit the real you. That's how you make art without breaking yourself in the process. And that's it. If this resonated in any way, boop that like button. It really helps with the algorithm. And tell me below, what's one goal that you're tweaking and rethinking and adjusting for this year? And if you've stuck around this far, drop a star emoji in the comments so I can know who you are and cheer you on with your goals. If you want to follow along my writing journey and see how these experiments work out, just hit subscribe, stick around, and even hit that bell button if you don't want to miss anything. And remember, you don't need more discipline. You need goals that fit the person who you already are. Also, you might be interested in last week's Craft Lab video, where I discuss The Practice by Seth Godin and dive into all the different mindset shifts and ideas that that book gave me. I'm going to leave that linked over here for you. It might help you rethink your creative goals and look at them a little bit differently too. I'll see you next time, and thanks for spending time with me today.